Turns out using a wand to scratch your back was really effective, but potentially dangerous. Because who knows what you might accidentally unleash. I'm Daniel Whittington. I'm the Chancellor at Wizard Academy and Whiskey Marketing School. This is Hidden Drams Day, and Hidden Drams is similar to what we used to call Rare Whiskey Friday on the channel, but it's a whiskey that you're probably not going to be able to get your hands on. It's something that I thought was really worth talking about. And this was a gift from Stephen Schmidt, who's one of our whiskey sommeliers, and he was here for class this week. And he brought this, and he said, hey man, you really need to try this. This is, where are they from? They're in Everett, Massachusetts. I couldn't think of it. I know it's Boston, but Everett is like this little suburb of Boston, sort of like Cambridge is the edge of Boston, right? So it's this tiny little area in Boston, and they are doing serious whiskey spirits nerds, basically. Founded by three gentlemen who, with various levels of, data analyst / chemistry / engineering backgrounds. And they started a distillery together, and they're making malt. And their stills, they are doing, this is how nerdy this is, and I may even have to explain it to you. They're doing direct fire copper stills. Now, these copper stills, if you go look on the website, they're very much like old school alembic stills, like brandy stills, like cognac, Armagnac stills. They're hefty, weighty. Oh my gosh, what a nerd reference. If you're an 80s child, there was a movie called Return to Oz that pretty much only showed up on TV. And there was a character in there called Chester Copperpot. And their stills look exactly like Chester Copperpot. Anyway, they're doing direct fire pot still. Now, that's how it used to be done. Way back in the day before the Industrial Revolution, when you get steam pipes and things like that, you would set up a pot still over a frame and then have an open flame underneath it. I don't know if you understand two things. One, how dangerous that is, or how much more careful you have to be, because you're evaporating high-proof condensate in a room with an open flame. You got to be really on your game. But even more, controlling temperature on a still with a live open flame takes unbelievable skill and practice and repetition. That is flying without a net, man. That is hardcore. And we were drinking this the other night, and I picked it up, and what Steven said was, hey, it's got all of those really balmy fruit notes that I love about like a lot of the used oak malts that I'm getting in American single malt. Like my favorite Balcones lineage, one of my favorites, the lineage, it just has this huge explosion of fruit right in the middle. And these guys are getting that too, which means they're doing really elaborate, interesting fermentations. They're really allowing all of those big, huge, dense middle fruit notes that come through in a distillation to show up early on. And it lives. It lives in the glass. The nose has a little bit of sort of a barley funk, but I think that's just age. This one is at least 2 years old. This is Short Path Distillery. I can't believe I haven't said their name yet. Short Path Distillery is the name of the distillery. And they make all of these different spirits because sort of like here in Texas, if you want to pour alcohol at a bar into a cocktail, you have to only use alcoholic products you've made. And so because of that, they've got like dozens and dozens of spirits that they used on their lineup. And they're using these birds to mark every different one. Every bottle has a different bird, and it sort of matches the reason of why they named it that thing. And they're doing local grain. So once again, these are serious whiskey people doing really cool things, and I love that they chose to dabble in single malt, and they did a great job of this. Sorry, I'm just trying to find something other than that really rich fruit partnered with a slight barley funk, but that really is what it is. And by barley funk, I mean sort of Honey Nut Cheerio, sort of musty grain bin, damp, musty grain bin. It's all in there. But behind that, once you settle on the barley, all fruit. Peaches and cream and apricot. Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful nose. There it is. Then you get this like little spicy kind of black peppery kind of poof in the palate. So it has all the fruit and all the honey. It's soft. I would say that like as far as a palate approach goes on this one, it does sort of like slide right down mid palate on the front and middle, just in this like tunneled, focused flavor. And then as you swallow, it sort of opens up onto the back palate. I would love to see this get enough time that mid palate starts to fill in a little bit more with the oxidative, transformative chemical structures that show up, year 4 or 5. It's 5, 6. This whiskey would just, really excited for the future of these. And I didn't actually look up when they were founded. Where is it? Oh, no, I did. I wrote it down. I'm looking at my notes. 2015. Okay, so they're 10 years old, 9 years old, going on 10 years old. I want to see this get older. I want to see what this becomes. I'd love to see a barrel of this in Texas and then see what happens to it. It's very dry. As you acclimate to the fruit, the nose sort of dries out a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of water real quick. These hidden drams are really fun. I'm enjoying doing the gifted drams too, but we'll talk about that one on a gifted drams episode. But I really like these like one shot sort of like, let's just look at this one thing that you're never going to be able to get your hands on kind of situation. And because I'm only doing 2 a month max, I get the chance to only pull bottles that I'm like, no, this one I want to talk about, instead of just like, well, got to fill content, so we'll just shoot whatever we have. It's like, no, I can cherry pick. I really want to talk about these whiskeys for very specific reasons. And that's been fun for me. Hopefully it's been fun for you too. Now, this is going to air in June. We're shooting way ahead these days. And one thing I'll say is, I don't normally promote the classes on this channel. But, crap. I should. This is this is what we are. So, let me tell you, we've got Whiskey Level 1 coming up. And by the time you see this, it will have already happened, but the next one is in November. And really cool, we're doing something we've never done before, which is in the end of July, we are doing a 2-day sensory training course that was built by Edinburgh Whiskey Academy for Scotch and Malt. And we are taking that and then sort of just grafting on like a 10% addendum to spread it into single malt as a category. So it will be a class focused on single malt, but we'll be rolling in some North American single malts into the tasting analysis. But it's a 2-day class here on campus. It's $2,000, so $1,000 a day. You stay on campus for 3 nights, check in the day before we start and leave the day after. And that's at the end of the week. At the beginning of the week, we're doing a 1-day executive bourbon steward program with the Stave & Thief folks. And so if you wanted, you could show up, do the executive bourbon steward, and stay for a 2-day sensory class. You could stay on campus the whole time. I'm really excited about the sensory class. They just designed it. Their approved course providers are the ones that are holding it along with them. And I've seen a bunch of the other people have been hosting it, and people have been loving it. This will be our first time doing it. Really excited about it. So that's just on the website on wizardacademy.org. Okay, with a little water, it pushes the grain forward and buries the fruit a little bit in the nose. And it started at 45%, so I probably brought this down to about 40 with the water that I added. Yeah, it's still nice. There's no faults. It's still soft and sweet, but it lost a little bit of complexity. Not surprising. Again, I'd really love to see this with a denser mid palate fill in. I'm curious if that changed from the proof level or if that, I think we would get there with age. There's no we. I don't have anything to do with the distillery. I think they would get there with age. But I really admire what they're doing. Very cool things. And I'm really glad you're here. Cheers to you. If it helps, like and subscribe. Like, subscribe. It's in one of those orders.